Welcome to the Heat Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, on a 3-game winning streak. Say that for the first time this season. With me today, on the bottom of the screen, the great Siobhan.
What's up?
What's up?
Hey G,
You're
hey
our
Franky.
credibility. Siobhan, you are kind of like the Heat Beat credibility. You have played the game at the highest levels. You shove us into lockers because we talk about our dumb numbers because you're the jock here, right? You're the one that would kick our ass. You give this show a credibility we've never had.
First of all, don't put that jockness on me. I was a sweetheart in school. I was super awkward. No, I appreciate it. I think you guys know what you're talking about. I'm just here to offer, a little different perspective, if I may.
And if you would like to read that perspective, Siobhan's debut article for Miami Heat Beat is posted live on heatbeatmiami.com. So check it out. She's right on the homepage, right at the very top. It's a story about Jimmy Butler, their win against the Knicks, and almost like a stream of consciousness. I don't know, Siobhan, you sell the article because it's really in your voice and it's rather exceptional.
Yeah, it's super stream of consciousness. It's how I watch the game. And so I was just making bullets for every quarter, and I was going back and turning the kind of chronological bullets into, into synthesis and into thoughts. And it really is in my voice largely, not even to an extent, it's in my voice. It's I don't know, it's how I think about basketball, what sticks out. To me, it's super, it means so much to me. I love you guys. I'm super happy to be here. I used to write for creative purposes a while ago, and then I just stopped and hadn't gotten back into it and felt bad and was like, damn, you're not yourself. And so this is one of the things that feel good to kind of come back into myself. So I thank you guys. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Be nice, because I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
Absolutely. It's great shit. And if you love basketball, we have little play breakdowns and kind of you get an athlete's perspective on what's going on the court. So check that out, heatbeatmiami.com. To the left of me, here on twitch.tv/MIAHeatbeat if you're a podcast listener. Remember, you can get in the conversation right now. We have chat popping. We're doing this live. We do it with y'all. We do it for y'all. And also joining me today is our 2K coach, Franky.
Free Chef Trilly. Free Marco. This is some bull. Come on, Twitter.
Marco's gone too?
They got Marco.
Yeah.
They got Marco?
Yep.
Damn, yo. Darkwig Pinky in chat saying hashtag free Chef Trilly. Yeah, let me tell you something. DFCA is no joke. They scare me.
Yo,
one time,
Marco, they got Marco for a video from 3 years ago.
Oh, no, that's happened to us. So one time, Alex, our professional screw-up, Alex Toledo, was covering a Heat summer preseason game in Boca. It was one of the scrimmages, and he took a video of a play, right? And they caught us because in the background they were playing Usher's "Yeah," and they caught us on the background noise. So Heat Beat has a strike or something. We disputed it, but yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's wild. Twitter's these wild streets. Let me say, DFCA, I don't fuck with that.
They won't get the Nazis though. Come on.
Right.
No.
Police what they want to police.
Yeah.
It took Trump to incite an insurrection, right? And we're just we tweet out Usher's "Yeah," we get a damn strike. It's out here crazy. So we have a lot to talk about today. The Heat are on a 3-game win streak, and it's really kind of it's a sigh of relief that we're not doing another podcast after a loss, and it looked kind of dicey at some points during that Knick game. And I kind of want to start there. Siobhan, we've talked a lot, especially in our group chats, about kind of the mentality of this team. And you've said a lot, they don't have dogs on this team. Other than Jimmy, they don't really have, and even Jimmy, they don't have a score first guy.
Yeah.
And I kind of pushed back on that for a while because I'm like, well, their offense was really good last season. They were 7th in offense. They were scoring on whoever they wanted. They shredded the Bucks. They did whatever they wanted to a really elite Celtic defense. And even to the Lakers, who are a good defense, they got whatever they wanted. The circumstances have changed.
Yeah.
Mentalities have changed. And I think you have kind of proven to be right on this.
I think of it's a lot of things happening at once. I think first and foremost, we can't underestimate, other teams' preparedness in coming into the season. And so a lot of the things that we were shredding folks with last season, a lot of that, it was schematically. We just have great play design, good play call, and it was relatively fresh with the lineup that we had. So it was new. I think what's happened now is that other teams have caught up at least a little bit in some ways. Duncan's not shaking, as loose and as free as he was. And at the points at which your schemes stop working, you have to you have to be able to know that you have a guy on your roster that's gonna be like, fuck it, give me the ball. And it takes Jimmy a bit too long sometimes to flip that switch. I know we all kind of like bang our heads over him not being as aggressive, as we would like him to be early on in the games. And so we fight with him with that, and also with not wanting him to have to take on all of that load, especially in the first quarter of this season. And so it's tough. Bam doesn't give it to you consistently. Tyler doesn't give it to you consistently. We're seeing him kind of round back into form, but you do need a score first guy with the mentality to score first, but also has the skill set to be able to go out and execute score first.
And I think that's a Franky, and we've talked a lot about this on the show, how the Heat, kind of to your point about Duncan, Siobhan, the teams are switching those handoffs a lot, right? So before, teams were kind of afraid to switch those Duncan Bam handoffs because when you put a small guy on Bam, that'll usually mean trouble. And I think Duncan was reasonably good at that little slip pass. Mm-hmm. What's happened is teams are just more willing to do it, and Duncan's not punishing them off the dribble, and Bam's not punishing the small guys when they flip that around. So teams are like, well, I mean, for the most part, we're going to get away with this, and we're going to stop what was their pet action last year. And Duncan's shooting 39.398, which is about 40%, but to see a 3 in front of his shooting percentage is kind of weird. He's shooting the exact same attempts as last year, 9.3, I'm sorry. So that is kind of the difference, right, Franky? So like as Siobhan was saying, like they have like this schematic, they used to have the schematic advantage, and all of a sudden teams are like, wait, no, we can punish you and you're not going to get us.
And another thing, like Siobhan I'm listening to Siobhan talk about needing a scorer who's attack score first, who can play make a little bit. And I'm just going back to the bubble when Goran Dragic is the starter, fully healthy, and turn this team around from a second round team potential to a finals team. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're missing. Siobhan's
I think
100%.
You're right, frankly. I think Goran might actually be the closest, other than a Jimmy, that we do have on this roster. You're right.
And he's not healthy right now, so we can't even use him. Like Kendrick is definitely score first, but he's not. He doesn't have the playmake side to him. But they miss Goran's ability to break a defense down. He's good. He can bend the defense. He can attack a bent defense. He can shoot off the dribble. He can attack the rim. He's one of our best lob passers. So the bigs love him, and all the guys play well with him. So they're definitely missing that element. And as for the Duncan thing, I think a lot of their struggles have come from relying too much on that dribble handoff. They take such a long ass time to get into their sets. They walk the ball up, and it takes 6 to 8 seconds to get into their sets. Then they're spending 10 seconds trying to get that dribble handoff, and nothing there. And boom, you got 5 seconds to get a shot. You're taking a contested jumper somewhere, and that's not good offense. My biggest thing is I think they should run more plays early in the offense for Jimmy and Bam to get inside in the post, look to play make, look to attack. They can run options either way, and then run weak side options more often, because they rely way too much on going outside in when they should honestly go inside out, because that's gets some easier buckets. It gets Jimmy and Bam going. They get their points in the paint, and all their shooters are bigger threats once the inside game's established. Because if they start the game and the shooters aren't hitting shots, the defense is going to start sagging in and closing in, and that takes away all the lanes for Jimmy and Bam.
So kind of to your point, and Christian Hernandez, our statistician and Photoshopper, tweeted this out today. He and I were talking about like kind of the Olynyk factor in that, as that outside shooter guy, right? Jimmy in, spray it out to Kelly out. Mm-hmm. So Kelly, obviously, we have very well documented the roller coaster experience that has been the Kelly Olynyk shooting season. But I think this is an interesting point to this. When Kelly is on the court with Jimmy, he's shooting 50% on 3-point attempts and 54% overall from the field. when Jimmy's not on the court with him, that number is 37 overall percent on field goals and 26% from three, which makes sense. I mean, you're not gonna get, when Gabe is hitting you with the ball, when it's Kendrick Nunn, when it's Chris Silva, you know what I mean? Like the catch and the shoot is not as crisp, right? So I think, and also like the attention that Jimmy directs, it's a little different. I mean, I think Kelly's mostly shot open shots, but a lot of it's like he sidesteps to get open, right? And it's more of a panic than an in rhythm thing.
Yeah, like it's the attention that Jimmy brings once being down there is a huge point. And you were saying like it's a different type of look than a Gabe driving kick or a Kendrick driving kick. And I think it kind of plays into what Franky was saying, that like Kendrick is score first, but what we want to see better out of him is decision making. Jimmy and able to manipulate, the defenses to get to those lanes to where those decisions are easier to be made. Jimmy is a pro at that. And so, not only do you have what's a more downhill motion, the defense more collapse, and then you also have a guy who's actively, looking to make lanes for the easy, kick out pocket target pass.
I love that you said that, because when you talk about a guy that manipulates a defense, it's Jimmy, right? Yeah. Jimmy is organizing the floor.
Absolutely.
He is setting his own chessboard to get what he wants. And guys like Kendrick don't do that. And to an even extent, guys like Bam don't do that. Mm-hmm. Bam plays on the chessboard given to him, and he's good. What he should be doing is setting his own chessboard, which is kind of what we've all kind of talked about. Get down low, be more aggressive, get to that face up, all that stuff. Goran's another guy that kind of sets his own chessboard, right? Goran dictates the terms into which you are going to guard me, which, by the way, kind of to Franky's point a second ago, as a guy who can create, when their offense goes off a cliff, as we've seen when Jimmy sits, that's supposed to be Goran in the regular season. Hey, Jimmy comes out, Goran's going to come in. He has a nice partner in Precious, right, as a pick and roll threat and all that, and you can kind of survive those minutes. So I think that's kind of been tough.
Still, though, how much is that supposed to be Goran really in the regular season, right? Aren't we, ideally, this dude's supposed to be on ice? But we all, it's been well documented how we can't afford to keep him on ice.
It's also a factor when Jimmy's not on the floor, at least early on in the season. A lot of those bench lineups with injuries, since we're playing with like 6 or 7 of our rotation guys, our bench lineups are Andre, Precious, Duncan, Nunn, and the G Leaguer of the night, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, whoever it is, and they're Chris Silva. They're not playing well together, so that's a big part of the reason that the numbers take a dive. It's just early season nonsense with the bottom of the roster playing so much.
Like they had I forgot, it was the Washington game where they blew them out, and at the end of the game, it's like Gabe, it's Strus, it's Kendrick Nunn, and it's KZ Okpala on the floor. And I was like, man, all those dudes started for them not that long ago. Like, this is garbage time, and they're out here playing when, you know what I mean?
And that's
like,
what they should be playing again.
Only that time.
Yeah, right? So it's like they were depending on these dudes on a nightly basis when that's not who they are. That kind of brings me to another thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, which is Gabe Vincent, right? And it's kind of spot on the rotation. So, they're going forward. We've talked a lot about this road trip that's coming up. It's really a make or break for their season, and we're going to get into the specifics of that in a second. But they don't have bodies, Franky. And a guy like Gabe, I think on paper and in theory, he's nice to have, but it looks like their guards are set, and for him to play, they're running 3 guards, right? So, like, they'll put Kendrick, Tyler, and him, or Kendrick, Duncan, and him. And those lineups just legit don't survive.
At all.
So I don't know if there's a place. And, like, I hate small guards. I hate when you throw out small guard backcourts. It's just kind of my problem has always been with Tyler. And I used to talk about this before when they had, like, the Dion Tyler Johnson backcourt, right? Or the Dion Goran. I'm like, that shit's too small. And, like, I'm not I'm not like a big person that like you need a big 7-footer as your center, because I think you can survive with a guy like Bam with a big wingspan. You don't need a Rudy Gobert or an Andrew Bynum or some shit, but you need like positional size. Like your guards need to be able to provide some resistance as a help defender. I think your wings largely should be kind of long guys like Jay Rich and stuff like that. So they have small guards. They have a lot of them. And then they start playing them together. Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. You didn't like the Rodney Magruder starting at the 3? God.
No. Remember when they put him on Kawhi?
You remember when they had like 7 6'4" guys that all played the 2? It was, and none of them could play the 1. It was maddening.
It was crazy.
But I'm looking at Gabe Vincent's stats. Gabe Vincent is surprisingly 6'3". He looks shorter.
He does look shorter. I looked at that same measurable.
I think it's the afro. But
I love the afro look. Gabe, I want Gabe to have that. Yeah, it's a great look. He looks very handsome with the afro.
But it's Gabe's shooting 25% from 3 on 4 attempts. It's not good.
Is that what he's good at?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Like his skill?
It's supposed to be what he's good at. But somebody in the chat, I think it's you, Fred VanVleet mentioned the Raptors, Fred VanVleet and Kyle. Those guys dig into their guys on defense. Those guys both can hound. They're strong. They're built. Kyle's very wide, very, very wide. He looks like he could fit into Jack's jacket. And
wagon.
Did you call Jack fat?
No, I was making fun of Jack's angle in the chat because it was so close up. It looks like his jacket was like the size of Moose's apartment. No, but you don't have guards that can dig into him and that can play bigger and can guard multiple defenders, guard multiple positions. One of the things about a guy like Norris Cole or Mario Chalmers, those guys, Mario had the good wingspan, but Mario's getting underneath you. That if you start dribbling around you, he's gonna pick your pockets, and you can't play with him.
The passing lanes really well. He's a really smart gambler.
Absolutely, and all these guys like none has great wingspan too. I don't know his exact measurement, but his arms look long. But
I wish he took more chances.
Yeah,
I wish that he kind of played those passing because he's just not gonna stay in front of a dude. So if you're not gonna stay in front of a guy, at least like really stress those passing lanes. So like you make a defender think, right? If they want to spray it out to a shooter that's really killing you, you kind of make them think twice, and then either he or Jimmy, or if they have to float it past, somebody can take it. Yeah,
I mean, and it was like Tyler. Tyler didn't have a great wingspan either. And he's only like 6'3", 6'4".
But he gets into it. Yeah, I like.
He's grabbing you by the jersey, Siobhan. You know the jersey drill. You got to tuck your hands
underneath,
in. Yep. Yeah, you gotta get underneath. And
Wait, y'all practice this?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is a big time. No hands.
Play defense with no hands. Hands behind the back. Hands in the jersey. And that's the thing. It's all about body and movement. And it's. What were you gonna say, G? Or what were you gonna?
No. Good go.
I think it's a combination of both of the things that I like when I say that we need size and we need dogs, because the absence of one definitely, stresses the need to have the other. But when you don't have either of those things, so you like a Kyle and a Fred, they, while short, they have a different type of size. Size isn't always height. Size isn't always, roundness. You can be solid. You can be sturdy and be considered to have good size on you. The two of them are shorter guards, but they have a different level of dog. They're going to sacrifice their body. They're going to get into guys because they know that they have to compensate for their lack of measurables. We have small guards who are just small and they're not physical. They don't have the heart, say what you want about how you want to feel about Norris and Mario. I said on Twitter the other day, Norris had heart. Norris played with the chip, and to your point, Tyler will give you some of that, but we don't have enough of it
currently.
More consistently and currently.
I think that Knick game, it was a startling contrast because I think the Knicks are for sure like less talented than the Heat. I think anybody would watch those two rosters and say, the Heat have 2 all-NBA level players, and they have, these like really touted shooters and these high drafted, rookies. And, if you redraft the last year's draft, Tyler goes 3, right? Reddish is just not going to go over him or whatever. But the Knicks play physical, and their defense has, it's been noted that Lowe was on the podcast the other day saying, they allow a lot of threes, a lot of open threes, and teams are just missing good shooters or missing threes against them, and teams really shoot a high percentage at the rim against them. So some of their defense is a little bit of fool's gold, but I think what is not is how physical they are. You can't call every foul. Yeah. Can't. Typical school of basketball. Mitchell Robinson, physical as fuck. Elfrid Payton, physical as fuck. Even guys like Quickly and all these guys, they're really digging into players. They're making them uncomfortable. They're contesting hard, and the Heat. They're physical
as fuck, and they have length.
Yeah,
Mitchell
Robinson, gave Bam fits.
Payton, for his size, he has that positional size you were saying.
I mean, Derek is probably the softest guy in their lineup, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you only have one weak link, defensively in your lineup, I mean, that's fine. Especially in the regular season, you can survive. So I don't want to focus too much on the negatives because they're coming off a 3-game win streak, but it's just these are conversations that we've had internally a lot, and it's been nice to kind of talk them on air because I do think that there's something to be said about kind of the way they play. So kind of moving forward to the positives in the road streak. So they have won games, albeit not very pretty. I think Jimmy's play has been fabulous, like absolutely fantastic. The dude has averaged almost a triple-double like every game since he's come back. And it's kind of unfortunate that he may not even make an all-star team because he doesn't have enough games. But whatever, hashtag Jimmy Butler, hashtag NBA All-Star.
That's fine. He needs the rest.
Yeah, that's another thing that scares me. I'm pushing this like Jimmy Butler social media campaign, and I'm partly scared because what if these dudes go and somebody has COVID and then he brings it back?
Yeah,
we don't need that.
We don't need that. We've had enough of our own COVID issues. We don't need, we've had enough fatigue issues and just attrition, of the body type of issues. I'm all for, I want him to get his recognition for, the hooper that he is, but I'm all for him taking that week or whatever those 5 days are and cooling it.
So Marco in chat said something interesting. I forgot who said this. I think it was Crab. But teams go at Tyler so differently than they go at Nunn, even though Nunn is a worse defender. That's kind of funny because I actually think Tyler's a lot better than Nunn defensively, and I kind of think that's a little bit true, probably because of the wingspan and the jokes and stuff.
It's an uncomfortable thing to say, but it's the elephant.
It's a
little white kid in the room. It's a little white kid in the room. I was gonna say elephant in the room, but no, he's the smaller white kid on the floor whom guys have heard nothing.
With short arms.
It was short arms, right? T-Rex arms. And he's a guy who players have heard, all about since last season. The Miami Heat and Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. He's out here, snarling at people. That's why I say, or that's what I mean when I kind of say, I think we underestimate just how much other teams, whether good or bad or any of these things, teams are going to get up for us and are going to target, him and Duncan. Tired of hearing, all this shit about you. Put it up, shut it up.
I think that's and the Fruit Hoops, the cereal thing. Right? You have all you have all these endorsements, the Instagram girlfriend.
Fruit
there's
Hoops
a lot.
Is hilarious.
Fruit. I mean, it's not what it's called, but it should be. It should be called Fruit Hoops.
I don't know what it's called.
Or Hoop Loops. Hoop Loops, Fruit Hoops. Either one. That's how we should do it. So Siobhan, let's get. Franky is gonna be right back. I have no idea where Franky went. He'll come back soon. Yeah. Let's get into some of the. There he is. Franky's back. Okay, let's get into some of the positives. Jimmy's been great. Absolutely outstanding. I think one of my favorite things that he's done has been kind of being an off-ball defender this season, since he's come back, and I think that's really changed their complexity of their defense a lot because when you have them on ball, really when he gets beat or when they have other actions, he's not involved at the play. When you kind of have him as a help guy, he's able to split that difference between kind of coming in to take a dig at the driver and then was able to close out to shooters because I think one of their big issues was they were giving too many threes, which I think is fine, but they were mostly uncontested threes. They weren't even getting a damn hand up. Yeah. And he's just a much better closeout person. And I think that's also less toll on his body, right? When he's bodying up and being the on-ball defender, having to fight screens and everything, it's a little different than when you're just worried about the corner man and you're kind of coming in and out.
And just coming off of COVID and losing 12 pounds.
That's true. I didn't even think I'd see there's so much to the season that you don't even think about.
Yeah.
So his defensive effort to me, Siobhan, I know that the offense is what we're going to tout, but I think like what he's given them defensively has been absolutely like game changing for them.
Yep, I think that's a smart thing to point out too. Him playing off ball and what that does for kind of the rest of the defense. How he's probably able to preserve a bit of himself. I still want him and the rest of the guys, though, to be a bit more disciplined, though, in some of our closeouts. I think what you'll see is a lot of the uncontested threes that we give up are off of offensive rebounds because we have closed out improperly, or we'll do that like fake, like jump the passing lane, but with the incorrect hand. So we're taking ourselves completely out of the play and we're forcing drives and off of offensive rebounds is the best time to, shoot another three. And so that's, I think, a lot of where at least some of our, uncontested threes that we give up come from. So I like him off ball. I want him to lock in a little bit more, get a little more discipline too. And same for the rest of the dudes, but I like it.
It's also part of the zone defense too, I'd say. I mean, they haven't been playing zone so much, but the zone is very easy once you manipulate it. And
hold on, can I before you continue your point, can we talk about how Crotty oftentimes misidentifies zone? It drives me crazy on the broadcast.
Yeah, he called he called out a 1-2-2 one time, and I was like looking for where the 1-2-2 was on the floor. Like that's not what that orientation is.
Sometimes when they switch, you'll say, "Oh, heat in a zone," and I was like, "No, that was just that was a guard switch." Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm sorry to cut you off. It's driving
good.
me crazy. I wanted to. Skinny McGee in chat says free Tony.
Absolutely. No, you see one of the guys at the top of the 2-3 play the ball, and and the other guy drop, and he's like, "Oh, 1-2-2." It's like, no, John, that's not what happens here.
Hold on. Again, I'm sorry to bother you, interrupt you. Why the fuck are they dropping Andre when they run guard screens? Like, what's the point of dropping Andre in that scenario? Why not switch that? I don't understand. So when Tyler, like when Andre's man screens off Tyler, why are they dropping Andre and not just switching?
They probably
don't understand that.
They probably don't want Andre off of his man. That's my best guess. I don't understand the point of just not switching that in general, but
it'd be something I want to look at.
They did it last year too.
I mean, I haven't been paying attention to it. I know you pointed it out, but I haven't been paying attention to the matchups. I know the Knicks don't really have like a wing scorer that scares you like that. Barrett a little bit, but I mean Barrett, you go underneath him and he doesn't really scare you as a shooter.
He doesn't scare you, period.
Yeah, he blew the layup to win the game. So
that was a contested layup.
It was.
He made the very same layup like earlier in the fourth quarter, and he had Jimmy beat. He panicked.
Yeah, he totally beat Jimmy.
He put it too high off the glass.
He justiced it. He did a justice right there.
No.
That's exactly what Justice would have done.
Absolutely something Justice would have done. Damn.
Justice would miss so many. If Justice
and this is what drove me crazy about Justice is that and which RJ should have done that Wade would have done a million times. Hit the guy to create the easier angle. So you're not.
Jimmy does that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Jimmy does that, but I'm saying Barrett should have done that to Jimmy. Is hit the guy so he's not going to block your shot, and you have the easier angle. Instead, he's trying to finesse it, fucking over the 6'7" guy, and that's why they didn't go in.
Tyler does that too.
Yeah, Tyler doesn't hit him either.
Tyler's touch is better. No, Tyler has actually.
No, he has great
touch. No, he is, but he's just not a physical driver like that.
Yes, yeah.
I wish Bam had his touch.
Goran does. Remember Goran with the iron shoulder?
Oh, dude, Goran loves Goran. Listen. All these Eastern European players love contact at the rim. They're in it. I love it.
Oh yeah,
they're tough.
Luka does that shit all the time. It drives me nuts.
That's fun to watch. I love guys. That
Jimmy's favorite thing is the unextended chicken wing. Like he'll give you the elbow, but
so good
doesn't push off, and like you can't call it because it's not.
He doesn't extend.
But he gets just enough space to get it off.
I love when guys like find loopholes in rules to the point that like everyone notices, and then you like the KD
until you're James Harden
that rip through. James Harden has that shit to a T. I mean, James Harden knows the rules better than refs.
Yeah.
Is it true that there was a story that he was he was explaining a rule to a ref? Mm-hmm. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Never say he doesn't work hard. Maybe he's not working hard in the film room, but he's reading up. Okay, so road trip coming up. Bam. kind of playing better, not to the level we need. Jimmy's pretty much there. Goran not coming. I think we've all kind of discussed that if they go about 500 on the road trip, we take it, but it's not. They need to be better.
I got you.
Get out.
I got you, Siobhan. They at Houston tomorrow.
Okay.
At Utah on Saturday. Okay. At LA on Monday.
Clippers first, right?
Yeah, Clippers. Sorry.
Yep.
Wednesday at Golden State, at Sacramento on Thursday. So that's a back-to-back. And then they have Friday off. They play the Lakers on Saturday, have Sunday, and then they play OKC on Monday.
It's grueling. God.
One back-to-back is encouraging. They usually get fucking Denver on a back-to-back, and then the LA teams back-to-back. So it's not too bad, but that's a heavy hitters teams. Tomorrow's not going to be fun. Houston's going to defend the hell out of them.
Well, so Vic, I don't think Vic is playing, and I don't think Christian Wood's playing. So that they might catch a break with that one. Yesterday, they just looked demolished by the Pelicans, especially going into the half.
Man, Kendrick, Christian Wood, and Boogie I feel like they would give us fits.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think, even DeMarcus with whatever the hell he has left in his career is he's the kind of physical guy that would bother Bam.
Yep.
And he's gonna have a shooting night. Like he's a guy who shoots like 33%, but against the Heat he'll hit 4 for 8, real smooth.
They do pretty good at the bigs. It's mostly the corner guys.
No, I'm just saying, like it's the guy who's an average shooter just has to have that above average shooting night against us.
Career night.
Yeah. Fucking
random scrub heat killer. Let me tell you. Well, anyways, DeMarcus is a scrub at this point. Nah, I don't want to do that. I love Boogie.
You know what's hilarious, G? You just explained to me what that means. I've always known that. RF, what, HK? I've always known that it's a thing. I know like the essence. I've always known the essence of like what it meant, but I never knew what it stood for. Thank you for that.
That is a 2012 Heat Twitter special.
Yeah.
Do you know what the flying death machine was?
Probably don't.
Okay, that was anytime LeBron and D Wade were on a fast break.
Yes.
Flying death machine.
I remember all the of course moments.
Of course. Do you know what Cobra Dick is?
Cobra Dick? I know.
Yeah.
Is it Maple Dick? Isn't that Kelly?
No, Maple Dick is Kelly, but Cobra Dick was a big 3 era. Okay, you don't know that one.
Don't.
Frankie, do you know that one?
I've heard a million times, but I don't remember the origin.
It's just LeBron doing, crazy shit. Barco chat. Like, listen, these are
Barco chat.
Wild West. Twitter was a different place than the big 3. Like, Twitter back then could not exist today. Like, the stuff Twitter used to do back then is just not allowed. Skinny G said Chris Joseph coined Cobra Dick. He did, absolutely. Skinny B, one of the founding members of Twitter. Alf too, man. Alf, listen, Siobhan, I don't know if you knew Alf before in like the early 2010s.
Mm-mm.
Different. That was prime Alf.
Ran into Alf like maybe at most like a couple years ago.
Samuel Jackson Avi Alf. That was a different creature.
Oh shit.
Did you know him, Frankie?
Who?
Samuel Jackson Avi
Alf.
Yeah.
That's when I met Alf.
Yeah. Shout out to Fitz.
John Wall is a game time decision tomorrow.
Oh, he's another guy. The Heat have had this issue pretty much since 2016 that fast guards obliterate them. They just can't contain them. Kemba, Wall.
I mean, it's Goran at the helm.
I mean, yeah.
You remember?
Common denominator.
Yeah, I mean, who's it? What was the Magic point guard? It wasn't Augustine. There was another Magic point guard that used to just light us up.
Shit, it was Augustine.
It wasn't Augustine. I feel like it was somebody else too.
I feel like it was. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I cannot.
But like Goran was never a horrible defender. Like he was never on the like.
He was feisty.
He was feisty, but he was just so aggressive with his hands and like reaching and leaning and
physical.
Yeah, he tried to play physical, but I
thought he was in the playoffs. I thought in the playoffs he was physical. He played hard and he wasn't. I think it's important to not be afraid to foul dudes. I think that sometimes guards are just really scared to touch other players, and I think that's just a product of the rules and all that stuff. But in the playoffs, I think Goran has an understanding of the moment of like, okay, they're gonna call a lot less doing this.
Yeah, and Goran's smart. He's such a smart player, and he's got so much. He is one of the biggest reasons why his whole Heat tenure. He's one of those biggest reasons I don't give up on young guys as quickly, like to improve. Goran got here at 28, and his game and skill set have improved so much in these years that he's been here. And
as a lob thrower, as a 3-point shooter,
as a bounce passer,
save his life.
He was
trying. Oh my god, the bounce passing!
He almost killed Hassan every time he tried to throw a lob.
Bro, I used to get so mad. I was like, Hassan's 1,000,000 feet tall. Like he can't get the ball down there. Like, what are you doing?
Throw it at his ankles.
He would have James Johnson would slip a trap, and he wouldn't even throw a bounce pass to him. He's wide open. It's right there. He doesn't have it.
I used to get mad because I was like, Goran, because when Dwayne came back, I was like, Dwayne tries shit. Goran, he's risk averse as a passer.
Yeah.
He just sees a window. He's like, man, no thanks. I'm just gonna dribble the ball. D-Wade's like, let's see what we got.
No, that was the thing is Goran would have one turnover, and you're like, oh, Goran played a really good game, but it's because he didn't throw anything. Yeah. He was a game manager as a passer. But he's improved so much. He's taking risks and he's seeing the reads. So that's why I don't give up offensively or defensively on guys improving, because we saw Goran do it when he's 28 and got a 20-year-old. You're telling me a 20-year-old can't do that? It's all about work ethic and listening to coaches.
Yeah.
Jay Nicho 20 in chat says 2015 Dragic's body with 2020 Dragic's skill would be a second-team All-NBA player.
Oh yeah,
it'd be great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was second-team All-NBA one of those years.
Oh my god, you know who it was? It was Alfred Payton.
Alfred Payton is Dragic's daddy.
When he was on the Magic, I forgot because of the hair.
Yeah.
I forgot he was a Magic.
Reggie Bullock took the
hair. He did.
Took the hair. Yeah, I used to love Alfred's hair.
It was cool. I liked it.
So the Heat might catch a break. And by the way, chat's popping with old Heat Twitter lore. Big Shot Bosch, Shane Battier trash talk, obviously,
big
of course.
Bosch.
So lots of fun in the chat.
I fucking love Bosch.
Who miss Bosch? So, could you imagine Chris Bosch playing next to Bam?
Oh my God.
I know. Unless we don't have to revisit this because it's that. I mean, what a perfect compliment.
Chris Bosch would be the prototypical. Chris Bosch would be the perfect big for today's game.
He's
finesse enough to get there and finish. He played with a weird amount of dog and passion and aggression with him too. Mid range would extend it to the three. He'd be awesome.
Chris Bosch.
I love listening,
Bam, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, Bosch was such a great screener because he can flip the screen, he can pick and pop, he can pick and roll. Good with both hands around the basket. He can make the pass on if they collapse, and he could stop and just hit that mid range. And he was fucking elite from that mid range spot. Oh, God, I missed him so much. He was so good. I loved that it wasn't completely smart to build around him and Wade after LeBron, to go all in and tie yourself up to make Bob, Granger, and Luell. But I do love that those 2 years that Bosch got to play, he was so damn good.
Yeah. There were times that he was possessed by the spirit of Naismith. He was destroying everybody. There were points in the season I was like, Jesus Christ, he's unguardable.
Yeah. No, and though that second, I'll go to my grave saying that 15-16 team. When he had they got Dang, they had Goran healthy, they had Bosch healthy, Wade healthy, and they had that second team lineup that it was Bosch, Dang, TJ, Mario, and Justice, and they would just blow teams out of the water. Oh my God, those lineups were so fun.
Yeah,
those were the days. And it's kind of coming back to our present team, and it's why I've kind of said that they're one or two rotation players away, because I think the bench lineup needs a little bit of bolstering and look into this road trip. And hopefully they catch a break against Houston, because God knows they haven't caught any breaks. The one break they got was the Clipper game when all their guys were out also, and they lost embarrassingly. So that's one thing. And kind of the other thing I wanted to talk to you about before we get out of here is kind of their bench stuff, because, they have Andre a lot. They depend on Andre way too much in that reserve role. I really liked him in his spot last year, where he's just kind of your wing defender. You do spot minutes, you do spot kind of creation. Now they're legit defending. They're just legit asking him to run offense at times, right? And it's just and I think moving Tyler to the bench really helps that. And I think whenever they get Goran back, and I think they've settled into their lineup. I think Kendrick, Jimmy, Duncan, Kelly, Bam is going to be the starting lineup for that going forward, right? And then off the bench, you ideally you bring Goran, you bring Tyler, which squeezes kind of Gabe and all those other guys out of the rotation.
Avery gets healthy.
Avery's another guy that could give you minutes, and maybe that gets Dyson. That's a matchup dependent thing, right? And then those are your three guys, and then you kind of want a little bit more off your bench. You know what I mean? You kind of look Precious, obviously, as well, but I think you want maybe another wing, and I think ideally you would like another starting guy and move Kelly to the bench, maybe a guy in that 4 spot. The couple things I've thought about, Bjelica. It would be nice for this team. He does fit into their trade exception, but he does have a redundancy with Olynyk. I think if they do, I think what that does is it gives you the ability to trade Olynyk and you can still replace him, right? So let's say they need to package some stuff to get a guy, right? Let's say they put Duncan, a pick, Olynyk, and Myers, right, to get to salary number to trade for X good player, right? And then you're kind of worried. It's like, well, we kind of need the Olynyk body, and then you can go to Sacramento and be like, hey, listen, you're trying to get rid of Bjelica. We can give you a 2nd-round pick in this, this trade exception, and then bam, all of a sudden you have your backup 4 spot kind of shirt up or whatever. So I don't know, Siobhan, am I making a mountain out of nothing? Do you think that their bench needs to be bolstered?
Absolutely. I think we certainly need bolstering in the bench. Like you said, the starting lineup is pretty shored up. But I agree. We still need I personally am a fan of getting some length. Like you said, a wing player, someone that can play multiple positions within that wing to 4 slot. I like what you said about Bjelica too. If that is something that we can do in preparation for maybe having to package Myers or whatever. Like I almost at the point don't care kind of what it is that we do. I definitely do care.
Want something though.
I definitely do care what it is that we do, but I'm with it. Strengthening the bench rotation, adding another scorer and someone else that can kind of at least hold their own, I think, defensively.
I think they're probably going to have to, at best, get 2 of those 3 needs. I don't think you can address all their needs. Yeah. And it'll be, like, imperfect solutions. And I think that's kind of how it always goes. You're never, like, I've talked about this a lot, the Harry Barnes propaganda, Harry B. Sacramento's winning games. It's unlikely he's going to be made available for the scraps that Miami has. So you're going to have to look for imperfect fits and make it work. Yeah. Rarely does it kind of, and sometimes you trade for a guy on the low like Jay Crowder and he turns out to be a lot better than even I'm sure the Heat anticipated. So you kind of play that roulette, and sometimes you get lucky, and listen, sometimes you don't. So and that's kind of the way they're gonna go. Wrapping up here, do you feel confident, Siobhan, in this team? Now, that's a bit of a loaded question. They're coming off 3 straight wins. They are now facing the make or break part of their season. I think a lot of their season is going to get decided in this road trip. Yeah, because if they fall on their face, I think it's kind of done for them. Yep. I think that hole is going to be too big.
I really want to say I don't know that I can answer that until I see at least these first 3 questions, but I don't want to, no, I'm gonna say it. I don't know. I'm not gonna answer that because I so desperately want to be confident in them. We're absolutely trending in the right direction. I'm not gonna shit on this team. I said they were gutless and they got jacked in the second quarter, and I meant that. Gutless when Jimmy's not there, discombobulated, out of sorts. So to that point, they still have to show me that they can manage that they can manage his absence better. I want to be confident in this team. I like the direction that we're trending, but I'll be better able to answer your question, let's say, after this Clippers game.
Okay, what if I'm going to provide you with this? And I tweeted this out earlier.
What's that?
At GNavas103. Follow me if you don't. Heat are 7-5 in games that Jimmy Butler plays, and that includes the 2 games that he played on a bad ankle and didn't look healthy. That 2.5 games, because half that Magic game.
So I'll ask you this: rephrase your question. Like, are you confident in this team to do what? To make the playoffs, to win some games.
It's confidence. It's a broad topic.
I mean, I'm confident if Jimmy's playing, I'm confident that we'll win some games.
I don't want to look to what they're going to do in the playoffs.
Exactly.
I look at where they finish in the regular season. Now, for me, I think if they get to 5, that's what you want. I think the goal at this point should be get to the 5 seed. I think that getting a home seed, I think getting a home seed is just unrealistic. I think given the issues with their health and the hole that they dug themselves into, they would need a pretty unprecedented finish, which, again, we've seen Eric Spoelstra teams do it in the past. And for all the shit that we've said on this podcast about what we said about his coaching, how stale it's gotten, how the actions and blah, 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 we have a recent example of him completely changing the way that the Heat played basketball midseason and went 30-11, right? Not that it's going to happen like that again, but, we have a coaching staff that you trust to kind of turn it around. The Heat
are 10th right now. I mean, in theory, we're like 2 games out of
tied for
5. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 2 games out of 5, and I think 3 games out of 4, right?
Yeah.
They're 3 games out of 4. I think the Celtics, and they lost yesterday to the Kings.
Yep.
2.5 out of behind Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I want to mention is Jimmy Butler, when he's on the court, the Heat are outscoring opponents by 8 points per 100 possessions. When he's off the court, they're getting outscored by 8 points per 100 possessions. So that's a 16-point swing when he's on versus he's off. He's averaging 18 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists on pretty decent shooting, a 56 true shooting percentage. A lot of that is propped up by his incredible free throw rate and the rate at which he hits free throws. And by the way, for Chad and people who don't know, I like using true shooting percentage because a lot of his possessions end in free throws. Most of his possessions end in free throws, right? So the shots he's missing, it doesn't matter as much because he's leveraging that for free throws, but he's also shooting a high percentage on his free throws. So true shooting kind of is a stat that gives you a little more perspective as to how, it includes kind of the free throw shooting and the volume at which you shoot free throws. So he's shooting a relatively efficient number overall. And I think he's been really good this season. And I think his play encourages me to think that they're a lot better than their record, but probably not where we expected them to be preseason.
That part.
Franky, what you got? How do you feel about them going forward?
I feel like they definitely do need a move. If not only to inject some fresh blood, but just to plug some of those holes. Like you said, I don't think they're going to necessarily be able to plug those holes perfectly, but they do have. I think I could keep going to OKC. I think that there's a move there. They have the trade exception.
Why do you think there's a move with OKC?
Because they have the 2023 pick and loosening
but
up.
That's unprotected. That's an unprotected pick.
It's not. No,
it is.
It's not. I just looked at it today. It's a lottery protected. It's unprotected. Sure? It's unprotected in 2026. This year's the unprotected one.
This year's so the 2026 pick is the unprotected.
Yeah.
So you're saying that they flip the protections on.
Yeah.
That pick.
They take the protections off that, let them get unprotected or loosen it up for a year or two. I think it's a lottery protected for 3 years until 2026. That's when it's unprotected. So you loosen that up. They have George Hill. They have Trevor Ariza, who hasn't played anything for them. I don't know if
he's a buyout guy more than anything.
I hope so. That would help. But the Heat have the disabled player exception from Myers that can help them in recruiting somebody. They have the biannual exception, so they could get 2 guys in the free agency market. There's guys like Ilyasova
and the trade exception.
And the trade exception. Yeah. So they have ways to make trades and make acquisitions. They just got to, Riley's got to do his thing.
Who are you cutting at that point? You cut Chris
Silva with ease. The only guys
Gabe.
I cut Gabe first. Strus if I need to.
Yeah.
Or KZ. They probably keep KZ, I think. I think they've invested too much in KZ at this point.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I don't even know who's on at the end of the bench.
Franky, to your point about new blood, I know that a few weeks ago, Tiff, shout out to Tiff, was talking about, maybe there's just having needed to been a trade made, just to get some new life, new blood, new personality, just some new energy in the locker room. I feel now though, right? You're coming off your longest win streak of the season. You're coming off 3 games. And that you are headed into the one of the toughest part of your schedule, like the make or break point of your schedule. If that doesn't like rally you enough, like if that doesn't refreshen your own blood and like give you, your own stimulation, then then some of those guys who don't get up for that definitely, I think, need to get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Janicho in chat Janicho20 in chat points out that cutting Gabe and Strus doesn't really open a real roster spot, and I guess that's because they're two-way players.
Yeah, well, if you don't move Myers in a trade, he's a two-way guy that he's gone for the rest of the season. You can decline his team option and waive him.
Who?
Myers.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying that if they don't,
they
don't move him.
Yeah,
you're saying that you can cut him. You're saying that you can cut him.
Yeah, you can cut him for a roster spot. If Mo's not going to be able to play, you do the same thing with him. You have Chris Silva, that's another spot. And if God, how sad is it that on Basketball Reference, the Heat page, Udonis doesn't even have his jersey number next to it?
That's not fair. That's not fair.
I just noticed that right now.
Yo, somewhere Nikias is pissed that Udonis is taking up a roster spot. But listen, that's what the organization pays for.
God,
they have to buy out these guys. They'll
this has to be the last year Udonis stays on the team. Honestly, it's kind of bad.
I think so.
I will not slander the great Udonis.
I absolutely love Udonis, but man, this is like it's hurting the team now.
And I think he knows that. Like I think he will, like it'll be on him. Like, look, thank you, but you guys can use this spot or something, or whatever. Like I think he knows that he's taking up space. I've
made up enough of those checks since 2010. Like, I mean, he hasn't really deserved above the minimum, and he's kind of gotten above the minimum like multiple times. So he hasn't even deserved the minimum.
Lifer.
Agreed.
I love Udonis. He's an OG, but now you're really seeing how it's affecting you. You got too many guys at the bottom of the bench that aren't giving you anything.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's hard to win in a COVID season like that.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, and by the way, I think after the Christmas and New Year's break, I think the COVID has really been under control in the league, which is a really good sign.
Yeah.
And not, I'm never gonna give the NBA credit, and especially with that whole anthem shit that happened today, like I'm so mad at them. But they did say it's like, well, let's just let the Christmas buzz, the Christmas and New Year's spike happen, and they were right. Fortunately, that we don't want these guys to be unsafe or whatever.
I'm hoping we don't get a Super Bowl burst here.
Well, not the players.
So not the players. Yeah.
I don't know, man. These players have been wild.
We don't need an All-Star.
We don't need that as well.
The All-Star game is stupid. The whole anthem thing is ridiculous. And for Mark Cuban to be the fucking leader, you know what I mean? That was so funny. That was a name I did not expect from Mark Cuban to be at the cutting edge of this.
Well, they say they're like throwing around putting the dunk contest at halftime of the All-Star game. Like, let's
bring more players. Let's bring more players.
It's a television product, but like it's so dumb. It's like, why do we need that?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. The anthem thing's ridiculous. The All-Star game's ridiculous. What the fuck is the league doing?
Making money, trying to recoup.
The anthem's not making the money. That's the thing. It's like it's such an easy thing to do.
Keeping people happy.
They're trying to please the people who complain about the NBA and don't want to watch the NBA, don't support the NBA. Why are you trying to please them?
Exactly. These people are not watching your product anyway. Why are
they're bashing your product?
Exactly. And
sometimes I wonder if we just live in a Twitter echo, because like Twitter thinks differently than like the real world. Twitter's not the real world. Like as embedded as us as we are in Twitter, it's not the real world. So I wonder. I haven't even talked to my family about this. I was like, hey, like, is that something that's popular for you? Like, how would you feel about this? I don't know how regular people.
I saw a tweet today that it was such a big issue with the Mavs that they went 26 games before anyone noticed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a big deal at all. Who cares? I have never gone to a game and be like, oh, shit, I got to get there early, make sure I get there for the national anthem.
So, chat slandering Mark Cuban, as we always should, because Mark Cuban has overseen a lot of awful things, including, like, sexual harassment and just a culture of toxic masculinity in his organization.
And 2006.
Yeah, and 2006. So Janichi was just saying like Cuban can do all the good he wants. I'm not forgiving him for what happened in that organization. And then Marco says, "Yeah, Mark Cuban sucks. He's the Mitt Romney of owners."
Oh,
That's
shit.
even too nice.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, guys. So thank you for coming to stream. Thank you for listening to the podcast.
Speaking of stream, check us out on StreamBeat.
Hey.
Plug your shit, Frankie. Hurry up.
Ah!
What is it? Tell people what it is. They don't know what it is.
Check us out on StreamBeat, guys. We're reviewing movies and shows, old and new. We just dropped our first episode. Me and Moose talk about WandaVision up to episode 5. We talk Marvel theories and where we think the series and the MCU is going to go.
Awful. That sounds awful. Why would anybody want to listen to that?
Listen, and you're going to hear a lot of our Heatbeat family on there. We're going to talk all your favorite movies and stuff. Follow us on StreamBeat Pod on Twitter.
And remember to check out Siobhan's article, heatbeatmiami.com.
Absolutely.
Remember to check out Hangover Time here after every single Miami Heat game on our pregame show with myself and Jack Alfonso and whoever else stops into this.
Shout out LSO.
Articles.
Shout out LSO.
LSO Sports. I don't think LSO is streaming this week. But they will post over the weekend an episode. I know that Alf is recording tomorrow with the guys. He talked about it with me. So follow their podcast feed. It's legitimately great. And especially, if you love Heatbeat and you've heard Parrish and you've heard Alf and you've heard Maddox on the post-game shows, you want more of them. We love to meme on Maddox. They're all great guys. Yep. So check out LSO and all that and we got going on. Let's get 4 in a row, y'all.